What's going on, everybody? It's Alex from Feelgood Guitars back again, and this in my hands is the official first custom ordered Feelgood Gardenia. Gardenia is our S-type model with our classic Feelgood touch, of course. But this one is, as kind of is becoming usual with these videos, this one is extremely customized and fairly different from the standard version of this model. The basic idea behind Gardenia is kind of fusing a Strat or an S-style guitar with an offset like a Jazzmaster or Jaguar. I kind of designed it in a similar fashion to like the Kurt Cobain Jag-Stang Polaroids, just kind of putting one part of a guitar up to another one and kind of sketching them together until I came up with a shape that I thought looked pleasing. One of my favorite aspects about the design, just to get nerdy, is how the Strat cutaway kind of goes up and kind of forms like a seamless line almost up to the more Jaguar, Jazzmaster, offset influenced bass side of the body. And surprisingly to me, I've designed similar things to this in the past, but it ended up kind of looking half-baked, and like this, it looked like you just put the wing of a Strat on a Jaguar kind of haphazardly, maybe a little bit similar to how the Jag-Stang production models ended up looking, but that's another story. But I kind of tweaked the design around a little bit until I landed on something that I thought looked really ergonomic and aesthetically pleasing. It's essentially kind of like an offset S-shaped guitar, but with a offset vibrato and bridge. And I threw my favorite style of pickups in it, of course, the 12-string split coils, or XII 12 pickups. Now with this one, the biggest departure from the standard way that it comes is the baritone scale length. This one is a 27-inch scale baritone, and we do that by making a conversion style neck, so we don't have to tweak the body at all. We don't have to move the bridge into a different position. You just put the longer scale neck on and it intonates perfectly. So that means that any 25.5 scale guitar design that we offer can be done as a baritone for not even any extra money. It's not even there's no upcharge for it. Of course, the specs you choose for your neck and the pickups and hardware will affect the price, but there's no upcharge simply for being a baritone or for being a lefty or things like that. So yeah, any of our models can be made into a baritone like this one. But having said that, no one has ever taken me up on that, and this is actually the very first baritone that I have ever built. I've painted a few Squires before, and they were cool, like some of the paranormal, one of the paranormal tellies from a few years back, and something else that I can't remember, but one or two baritones that I've painted and kind of set up and tried to work my magic on a little bit, but they were Squires, all of them, so they kind of just never felt like a premium instrument. Even after all the work I do, there's just something about the neck feels. Maybe it's just that I'm trained to recognize Squires like instantly, so I can just tell, and part of me knows that it was a Squire. So I don't know if it's a little bit psychosomatic or whatever, but I had definitely never built or refinished or really, I don't even think I've ever played a baritone with an offset vibrato, and kind of, leaning more into the jazzy, softer side of playing. Most baritones I've played have been like metal guitars, some 7 strings, you know, they're almost always hardtail. So this one, as soon as I got the request for it, I was so stoked to build it, and as soon as I gave it the first strum, I knew that I had something special here. And I'm not just saying that because I put it together. I mean, this is a really inspiring instrument. I don't really even know what it is, but you know, it being a baritone, it's tuned B to B, so you can play all the same chord shapes and notes and little licks that you would play on a standard 6 string, but it's just lower and kind of, it just instantly sounds moodier, I think, and like, just, it's a, I don't know, it's a vibe. And I had completely overlooked baritones in my own personal collection, but as soon as I started playing this one, I honestly, I really would love to keep this one, but I'm not gonna do that to you, Jake, if you're watching. I do think I will end up building something very similar to this, though, because it truly is special, and ever since I put it together, ideas have just been like flowing out of this thing. So Jake, you've got a really, really special guitar coming your way, and this is definitely one that I wish could stick around just a little bit longer so I could record with it and such, but I've had my fun tonight, and we're gonna send it off tomorrow, so thank you, Jake, for the opportunity. So getting down to the specs on this one, this build, the customer Jake was a little bit reticent. He was a little hesitant to go with split coil 12-string style pickups in this build, and I use 12-string pickups a lot in standard 6-string builds. What people don't seem to really fully get is that they, other than being split onto 2 bobbins, there's nothing really that makes them any different than a standard, you know, Strat style single coil pickup. They're just split onto 2 bobbins, and you can actually wind them as hum canceling because of the 2 coils. So it's actually kind of a, in my opinion, a superior design, and not to mention they just look cool, you know. It just kind of gives it a little extra something visually versus just a standard single coil pickup. But Jake wanted these, he wanted single coils in this guitar. He didn't want it to be a metal baritone with humbuckers and a hardtail. You know, he wanted the offset vibrato, single coil Fender sounding pickups. You know, we set this one up with just actually standard 11 gauge D'Addario chromes, flat wound strings. So it's actually very light tension for what you would see on a baritone, which I was a little worried about. I kind of thought it might be too light, but as soon as I gave it a strum, I was like just blown away by how easy and how light it is to play. It's almost effortless, and it's kind of, I would compare it to like how a set of 9s feels on like a Strat. It's not quite like 9s on a Jazzmaster, which that gets a little flubby. It has that same kind of just loosey-goosey kind of feel. So I will definitely, when I build my personal baritone, I will definitely be putting probably these same flat wound 11s on it, because it is just a pleasure to play. I mean, I really can't say enough about it. So a lot of people can tend to be kind of hesitant to use the 12-string split coil style pickups in a 6-string build, because the only context you ever hear them in is in 12 strings usually. And 12 strings as a rule, you know, with the drone strings and everything having the octave, you know, they're very jangly, kind of trebly, high-pitched instruments to begin with. I mean, you could put humbuckers underneath a 12-string and it'll still sound kind of trebly and jangly, because there are a lot of treble strings, you know, going over the pickups. And when you put those same pickups in a 6-string build, you don't have all those drone, high octave overtones. So you just kind of get normalized, output like you would expect from single coil pickups. They can be sometimes a little lighter wound because they're the original 12 strings weren't wound hot at all. But that's kind of the beauty of these pickups, is that this design, just like our other pickups that we make, you can do so much with this framework. So when Jake expressed that he was a little worried, he loved the look of these pickups but wasn't sure if it would be the right fit for a baritone, I consulted with my business partner Boris, who makes all our pickups. He makes the hidden pickups that go in our Dreamweaver 1 models, and I kind of picked his brain about it, and he was like, if we use some neodymium magnets and kind of wind them a little hotter too, we could end up with a pretty fat sounding, higher output single coil pickup that would be a little more appropriate in a baritone. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it, And he made the first set that I'm not sure if anyone else has ever done this, but he made the first set of neodymium split coil pickups, and they are in this build. And I don't want to name any names, but Jake was consulting with a very reputable pickup winder in the industry who was very, very against the idea of using split coil 12-string style pickups in a baritone. He insisted that it would not sound right, it would be too trebly, it wouldn't be the right kind of frequency response, which are all, I would maybe agree if we were talking some vintage style Alnico 5, split coil pickups. But I had to kind of bet on us and kind of go against a very experienced pickup winder, and put my opinion out there that if we do the neodymium magnets, you would have plenty of bass and frequency response, and plenty of ways to mold the tone to whatever you desire it to be. And I have to say, not to scratch myself on the back, but I think if the demo is any indicator, I think we really kind of nailed the proper sound for this guitar. It just sounds right to me. You can get kind of those trebly, stratty sort of sounds, but then you can also kind of, get more of almost like a bass kind of tone, which I tried to show off in the demo. I tried to kind of play a little bass line type thing. So yeah, and to top it all off, we added a strangle switch, like a Jaguar style strangle switch, which is basically kind of like a bass cut and kind of gets you more into the territory of like a lead guitar, like even like a surfy kind of trebly lead. So really, with all of that coming into play, you have more than enough options to make this kind of sound more like a traditional baritone, or even like a bass, or like kind of a standard 6-string guitar. So it's really an extremely versatile guitar. Baritones to me almost sort of seemed like a one-trick pony for a while, but this guitar is really changing my opinion, and I would love to build a ton more baritones. So what else is there? Yeah, we've got a 3-way switch, CRL, USA made, witch hat top. Got CTS 500K pots, Fender AVRI vibrato, 9 1/4 radius fretboard, and 9 1/4 American Professional Mustang bridge with the, I don't know if you can see that, the nylon washers to prevent it from rocking, locks it in place. So there's no, I like the rocking bridge setup. You do have to set it up properly to get a rocking bridge to work the right way. And if you're heavy-handed, there is the ability to move the bridge with your palm, when you're playing hard and such. So it's not for everyone, and I can definitely appreciate the stable non-rocking bridge setup as well. It's just a different approach in the setup. But I have to say, this one's dialed in and absolutely playing great. The finish is inspired by a made in Japan Mustang that came out. It's Olympic white with a dark navy blue. It kind of looks black right now, but this is like a dark navy blue competition stripe. NOS Nitro finish. High gloss. We got the gold Gardenia logo. Nice and shiny. Perfect frets. The neck just feels incredible. It's nice and thin. Slightly, I think we did a 42mm nut on this. So not as thin as we can get, but it's still not a very wide nut width. It's just a joy to play. It really doesn't feel like a baritone or feel any different. But we're able to get down to B, no problem. Holds tune perfectly. No buzz. Nice low action. Just a joyous guitar to play, really, and one that I would love to build a lot more like this. So if you like this, if you dig it, hit us up at feelgoodguitars.com and we can start hashing out the details of making your own custom baritone or whatever else you'd like to make. So baritones, 12 strings, lefties. We can do all of our models pretty much in any of those configurations. The sky's the limit. Whatever, a bass 6, whatever you'd like. So yeah, appreciate you guys being here and hope you enjoyed the video and the demo jam. And we'll see you on the next one.